Hey there, and welcome to your First Alert Weather Plus forecast. I'm Chief Meteorologist Rachel Garceau. Had to start with this, as over this past weekend, Boiseans got to enjoy one of my very favorite weather words, petrichor, which we call the smell of rain. Technically, it's the earthy scent produced when rain falls on dry soil or when rain just falls after a prolonged dry period. This is what that smell is called. The dirt releases a certain mix of chemicals, and it does have an odor. And for all of us, it was a welcome smell, as it had been over a month since Boise had measurable rain. Even at that, it wasn't a whole lot over the weekend. And as we talk about what's on the way, that's about all she wrote as far as any rainfall potential, at least for the next 5 to 6 days. As our unsettled weather moves out on Monday, that sets the stage for summer sizzle to make a return. We stay dry, hot, and sunny for the work and school week, and potentially all the way into the coming weekend. As we look at those rain and storm chances for the Treasure Valley, nothing, nada, zilch for the next several days. So hope you enjoyed the thunderstorm activity and the rain over the weekend, as starting Monday it is long gone, and instead we will turn our attention to that heat. So temperatures will climb into the mid-90s on Monday, about a 10-degree jump over how we ended our weekend, flirting with 100 degrees on Tuesday. We may see some of the hotter spots across the Treasure Valley hitting the century mark on Tuesday. We see fluctuations a little bit day to day, but overall the takeaway is that we stay hotter than normal for the week ahead. Remember, normally Boise lands at 91 degrees for the middle of August, so 95 to 98 is abnormally hot. And same setup in the mountains. Sunshine will be plentiful. The storm activity from the weekend dies down by Monday afternoon. Normally highs in our mountain locations hover in the upper 70s, low 80s this time of year. We will be in those mid to even upper 80s across the board from Monday through Friday in the higher elevations. All right, big picture setup. So we had that short wave that moved across the region on Sunday. It was preceded by the cold front on Saturday that dropped our weekend temperatures into very comfortable territory. All of that, though, moves off to the northeast by Monday, and that sets the stage for that high pressure to take over. So you see the core of that low pressure center really won't have an opportunity to approach the northwest, as high pressure becomes a big dominant weather feature and will remain so from Monday through Friday, potentially on into the weekend. Now, we do have the chance of some of that monsoon moisture still creeping up and around that ridge of high pressure. So by midweek, maybe Tuesday into Wednesday, there's a slight chance of some isolated storms firing off along the Idaho-Nevada border, but doesn't look real likely at this point, and most areas will not be impacted across the Snake Plain and the Central Mountains. So sunshine really will dominate. Looking at our United States futurecast, the lay of the land for the entire country over the next several days, starting off with some stormy weather over the Great Lakes region and Minnesota early on Monday. Things stay pretty quiet all the way through Tuesday, but the big national headline that you'll start hearing a lot about is this storm right down here. This is Hurricane Erin, which over the weekend surged to a Category 5. By the time Sunday evening rolled around, at the time of this recording, Erin was a Category 3. Not expected to make landfall this week, but still will churn near the East Coast, moving in a north-northeast direction through at least the middle of the week. Expected to retain hurricane status for a couple more days before finally fizzling out and moving off to the northeast and away from the eastern seaboard, but still some very dangerous rip currents, high waves, high surf, and strong gusty winds. A biggest concern there, even as it's not expected to make landfall, will still have some impacts for the first few days of the week along the East Coast. All right, bringing it back a little bit closer to home, our 7-day outlook for the mountains. We talked about that temp trend. Look at all the sunshine we'll enjoy. If you are lucky enough to still have the opportunity to go camping, even with school back in session, hey, it's going to be a beautiful week for that. Things will likely be a little bit less crowded as well in the higher elevations these days. Flirting with 90 on Tuesday. That will end up being one of our hottest days along with Friday. We may see some of our mountain locations by the kickoff to the weekend hitting that 90-degree mark, but still pretty quiet weather overall. We may be watching the possibility over the weekend of a couple isolated showers and storms. It's a little far off at this point, so we'll see how that shakes out. We could have a chance of a shower or a storm sneaking into the picture for the Magic Valley as well. This is our 7-day outlook for the Twin Falls area. That's over the weekend, but you can see for the work week, it is going to be hot in the Magic Valley. We're normally around 87 degrees in Twin Falls for this time of year. So first school week back for a lot of students over in the Twin Falls area. It's going to be a scorcher. Make sure you plan those first day of school and first week of school outfits accordingly. Blazing sunshine overhead. ahead. Few clouds come in on Friday. Temperatures, though, hold steady in those low 90s through the weekend, even as we see a chance of a pop-up shower or storm coming in from late Saturday into Sunday. 7-day outlook for the Boise area. It's all 90s all the time with sunshine overhead pretty much every day. So we see those day-to-day fluctuations by a few degrees. Mornings will start off in those low to mid 60s, very comfy early on. The takeaway this week, much like we've talked about over much of the summer, mornings are where it's at as far as outdoor activities, yard work, lawn work, anything you need to get done outside. Mornings or late evenings, best bet for that. We just stay hot, quiet, and sunny for the work week. Slight chance of some clouds, maybe a sprinkle of rain on Saturday. We'll keep an eye on that. Otherwise, a pretty typical summer week coming our way. Thanks so much for tuning into this First Alert Weather Plus forecast. We'll see you next time.